Okay, everybody. I think we've got everything lined up for tonight. For tonight. Still coming down from the weekend. How about you guys? It
Mm.
doesn't seem like a week ago, right? Did we put all that together? But I think we are in a good spot and a good space for tonight. Victoria, you're going to go first on our weekend review, right?
All right, that's fine with me.
That's good for you. And Bruce, you
Yes.
go next.
Mm-hmm.
I will I will I will come in third place. Oh, what a shame.
Go, yeah, I'm sure. So that gives you what, about 10, 15 minutes to come up with something?
about, about I don't think timing is gonna be the issue. Content may be the issue this week. I was
Surely
so
you did
stressed.
something
Yeah, did you go
worthy.
see any more movies?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen anything new. I haven't. Nobody has recommended anything to me or
Anybody
anything.
see Black Adam yet?
Is that out? I didn't even know
Yep.
that was out.
Yep.
Okay,
I
well,
haven't even seen the Woman King yet.
you haven't, Victoria.
Nope.
You've been too busy though. You've had other things
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
mind to get done.
Definitely too busy.
Have you heard any what do I want to say reviews, Ruth?
I mean, it's a DC movie, so either you like it or you don't. So,
Uh,
Gotcha.
I mean, The Rock is in it, so it's
Oh,
probably watchable.
What's the name of that Black Adam? That's what that's called. That's the one with the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 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 All right. All right. All
They go on
righty.
your
Hey
list.
everybody, it's time
okay.
to roll the open.
All righty, Alan. Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
all right, I'm
Roll.
out of here.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Authors Up. So happy to have you in the house this evening. It is a Sunday night at 7 p.m., and you could be doing any number of things, but you have chosen to spend this time with us. We have a great guest to introduce you to tonight. We're looking forward to having you meet her. Good evening to you, Linda Cooks. Glad to have you in the house tonight. Thank you for joining us here at Authors Up. And we are going to get started the way that we usually do. We're going to talk about our week in review and kind of bring you all up to speed as to what the authors have been up to in this past week. So, Victoria, why don't you go first tonight?
All righty. Good evening, author friends and bronze girls. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Good evening.
And good evening to everyone out there in podcast and Facebook land and streaming inspirational land. All the other lands, we welcome you. But my week was a pretty good week. I actually went to Indiana for a few days, and I am ecstatic about it. Woo! Hey, Christi- good evening, Christina. Glad
Hey,
to watch party. Yes, that's what we like to see. Watch parties. My mom turned 89 on
Oh,
Monday.
wow.
Yes,
woohoo!
89th
Wow.
birthday. And she has moved to Indiana, and um this was going to be my first birthday that I've ever spent away from my mom, and it just
Oh.
didn't sit well with the kid. So I talked to my supervisor, and long story short, I flew out Monday morning, and I got to surprise her on her birthday, and it was
Mhm.
just amazing. She When she saw me, she said, "Ah," and she just leaned on me, put her arms around me as far as they could go, and just
Oh.
cried. I mean, she visibly sobbed, and I cried too. And so it was just so nice to be there. We took her out for dinner. Brother took us out for dinner, and I was just able to spend some time with her, and it was just priceless, 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 priceless. So I tell you, greetings from London. London, England is in the
Woohoo.
house. Welcome, and
Evening,
thank you for
London. Glad to
joining us.
have you.
So that was my week, and it was just wonderful. Still a little tired, have not been able to catch up on the sleep. Whew, because I was just kind of rolling. I just rolled through the week, but it's okay. It's okay.
Your mom
So,
is so, I'm telling you, she has the strongest voice, and she was clear and did her little Facebook greeting to her fan club.
And she told me, I
Yeah.
want you to do a video. When are we going to do my video? I said, okay. I said, you ready now? She said, yes. Got herself together. And she was just,
She
that's
did
her.
great. She
Yes, she
did great.
did.
I got a kick out of watching her and listening to her. I
And she
thought
had
that,
not rehearsed that.
oh,
oh wow.
so
So you
she's a
see what
natural. Okay.
yeah, you see what the grandkids get the acting ability and the drama really from her, not me.
That,
That
well, it was nice to see her on camera. It really was.
was it. So who is next? Is it Yuru?
That's me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So greetings, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. Let's see. What did I do this week? And honestly, you got your Monday through Friday, but I think for me, as we get closer to November 1st, I'm
Mhm.
getting more and more excited because I've been plotting out my story and just getting it ready to write. I've kind of been holding off on like actually sitting down and writing it because I
Okay.
know I need to focus then. And it's just really neat the way things come together. And this is partly a tip. So, all my writers, listen up. There are so many opportunities out there to learn. Um,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
it's not, sometimes they're freebie opportunities. I signed up for this service. It's called Screenwriting U, like university, and basically, they do try to sell you their learning products, but the thing is, there's a model out there. They'll give you, like, 40 minutes free of learning, their model, and then they're like, "Okay, well, the last 20 minutes of the hour, they try to sell you on the classes," which is
Right.
fine. "Hi greetings from Scotland." Awesome.
Good
Um
evening, Scotland.
yeah, so I actually sat through one yesterday and it was about writing a profound screenplay.
Wow.
And I listened to it because I always like to pick up tips and stuff. But even as I was listening to it, I'm looking at it and thinking about, ooh, how can I apply this to the book I'm getting ready to write? And it's just understanding, the transformational journey, understanding the profound truth that people are going to walk away with when they read it. So it was really neat. They had a worksheet on it, and I'm ready. Let's put it that way. So
All
I'm
right. All
looking
right.
forward
Good.
to November 1st. That's my week. My tip is, guys, look out for these opportunities that you can sign up for, and I promise you, the rest will come. So, because the algorithms out there, once you sign up for one, that's all the ads that you're gonna get.
You
So,
know what I have signed up for, and it's funny that you say that. I've signed up for it's like a fun fact of the day,
mhm,
as well as a new word. So
mhm,
every day I'm learning a new word, and I've really been enjoying that.
Good.
good.
It's
So you can,
interesting. Go ahead.
Very
yes. So that was basically actually more my weekend, but that's
Okay.
the frame of mind that I'm in. So what about you, Andrea?
well. I didn't. My week was longer than my review will be. Uh, but let me first say good evening to Francina. Hey there, Francina. Have you with us this evening. Actually, I spent some time doing something that I don't do a lot of and should do more of, and that is plotting the year.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
don't always plot the year. I may do a quarter, or I might do, gee, I think I might want to do blah, but I don't really go through and look at the calendar and think,
Mhm,
okay, this is where I want to do this. This is how I think I want to do this. This is who I want to pull into this particular scenario. So that's that. I spent a lot of my week kind of doing that, and making some choices and making decisions, one which affected Authors Up, in terms of saying, I am not going to get out of balance. I'm not
Yeah.
going to overload my plate with too many things going on at the same time, because I'm not going to be able to give both things the focus that they
Mm-hmm.
deserve. So let me step back and say, okay, I want to do this, and coming to some conclusions that said, you know what, if I want to do A, I'm not going to be able to do B,
That's
and
right.
it's going to have to be all right. And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't spend enough time doing that, and when we get overloaded, we can't blame anybody.
Right.
We can't say, they put me at this spot, or somebody did this, or whatever, because I'm always talking about brother they and sister somebody. We just put them out there all of the time, but sometimes it's us. you know
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we just put ourselves
Mhm.
into a basket with a whole lot of other things, without really considering, okay, what's the priority with this, what's the timing with this, when am I going to have to get this done and that done, in order for it to still be in the excellence that I want it to be, and have
Mm-hmm.
the impact that I want it to have, and not drive me crazy or wear me out.
That's it.
So I spent time really doing that this week, and I was glad I did. Hey, Angie O, they're in South Carolina. Good evening to you. Welcome to Authors Up. Glad to have you in the house tonight. But tonight, let's see, we have something special for you. We have a special author for you, and we want you to meet her. And she's going to talk to us about her book and her journey and all manner of things when it comes to writing and writing for the young. And Victoria, why don't you tell us about our guest for the evening?
I absolutely would love to. Our author for tonight, Juanita Woodson, is a mom, wife, daughter, sister, auntie, friend, and so much more. She learned to walk confidently in her purpose and passion by serving others as a writing slash author coach and mentor. She developed a writing at a young, she developed, a love for writing at a young age. Whether it was through journaling, writing poetry, or just writing short stories, there was a feeling of freedom whenever the pen was in her hand touching paper. She took that love for writing and wrote and self published 3 books that empowers others to take accountability, step out of their comfort zone, and to heal. In 2021, she took a leap of faith and stepped out of her own comfort zone to open her own publishing company, Grace for Purpose Publishing Company LLC. Sit back and relax because in just a few minutes, you will hear from our guest tonight, our author, Juanita Woodson. Be right back.
Welcome, Juanita.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
We are so happy to have you here tonight, and we're going to talk about your book, Bug Writes a Book. So,
Thank you
let's
for
get
having
started
me.
with who's Bug?
That's me.
All right.
That's me. So my family, I had like so many different nicknames growing up. So it's Nene and then Nita Bug. So as I've gotten older, Nita Bug stuck, and that's who I am. So I'm Bug.
Oh,
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So, tell us about your book.
So Bug writes a book. Basically, it takes children through those steps that you need to take to write and publish a book. It walks them through thinking about the topic that they'll write about, then going to the graphic designer and then going to the editor and then sharing the book with their friends or their reader audience. So it's really unique the way that we didn't capture like every single step in the writing
Mhm.
process, of course,
Mhm.
but try to
Mhm.
like narrow it down to where that young mind can want to write their own books.
Mhm.
That is awesome. And I'll have to say, I think each of us have our own point, especially with that topic itself. I had to think back when I was in high school, and I think we all read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
Um, I was shocked to find out that it was written by a 16-year-old girl.
Wow.
And to me, that was like, oh, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And I remember thinking, am I old enough to write adult conversation? Am I old enough to write a book? And I think that this book itself encourages that creativity or that desire if it's in the child already. So what drove you to actually put this book together?
Right.
So I know I wanted to write a children's book. I have others that I have like in the vault I haven't released just yet. But like I wanted to put something out there that can be used as an educational piece, but also be fun and creative and touch on like my love for writing as well. So I thought that was like a good way to step into the world as a children's book author.
Hmm. Well, awesome. I think you did a great job. So, um, and now you've been writing since a very young age, right?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So now you talk about journaling, talk about writing short stories. Is there a particular genre that you enjoy writing more? What is your focus?
So definitely like self-help books, writing
Mhm.
books that touch on some of the things that I've gone through in my own life to shed light on taking accountability. Like I'm really big on that, like self-accountability. So I
Mhm.
like to write books that make people step away from like being a victim and more so taking accountability to get your
Awesome.
own power back so that you can walk in your purpose. So like when it comes to writing, that's the lane I like to stay in a
Mm.
little bit.
Okay.
Nobody can tell my story better than me. So
All
Oh,
right, gal.
been in some authors up meetings with that. That's what we say all the time. Nobody can
Mhm.
tell the story better than the author. That's
That's
great.
right.
Absolutely. Now, being an author and being a publisher are two different things. What made you step into that or take that leap of faith?
so everybody asking me for help with writing their own books. Like, how did you do it? And so I self-published my first book back in
Mhm.
2017. Don't Go
Mm,
That Way, Protect Your Purpose. So that book, and if you are aware of like self-publishing and the headache that can come with getting your book out there, all the unknowns that you have to figure out all by yourself, I wanted to kind of be able to help people navigate that publishing world from the
Mhm.
very beginning, from before they even write that first sentence and then all the way to when that book is printed and then now they're ready to market the book. So really, I also have a heart for helping people. So I think stepping into the world as a publisher, it kind of all flowed together.
All right. All
Wow.
right. And then you're enjoying it?
I am, yes. I get to meet a lot of women. Mainly, I work with women to help them get their books out, but I get to meet people all over.
Mhm.
So the networking part of it, I love, and just building those relationships.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So tell us about your journey writing through Bug Writes a Book. How was that? How long did it take you to go through it? Um, was it difficult? Because doing a children's book with illustrations is way different than sitting down writing a self-help book.
Mm-hmm.
It is because you want to make sure that kids understand it. So first you
Mhm.
have to identify, well, what age group are you writing to? Because
Okay.
different age groups. So you have like infants, you have
Mhm.
preschool, then you have like your school age, and that's even broken up into different age groups. So I had to identify like who am I talking to. So once I figured that part out, then it was like putting the words out there and then going through that publishing process. Writing it wasn't too complicated. Then
Mhm.
it was finding the illustrator, but
That
making sure that that part is a little difficult, but making sure that
Mhm.
the illustrator can like capture, what you're looking for.
Mhm.
So in my illustration, I'll just show. So I used a picture of if you can see, I used a picture of my son when he was younger, and then a picture of my stepdaughter.
Mhm.
So it was really cool to like see it come to life and just being able to use them, knowing what I wanted the characters to look like, that made it really easy. And then Bug, of course, is a ladybug. So that part made it easy. And then being a publisher, I know all about like getting your own ISB and code and barcode,
Mhm.
those different things that help me to kind of get through the children's book a little bit easier than getting through my first book.
Mhm.
All right. So so then you've been doing this for 6, 7
Since
years?
Yep, since 2017. So
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. So how has the reception been? How have kids enjoyed the book?
they love it so far. So I'm still working to really push the children's book out there. It's a
Mhm.
different audience, of
Mhm.
course. So you're not reaching the children, of course. You have to reach out to educators and
Mhm.
parents, different organizations that work with children. So that's a challenge. It's pushing me out of my comfort zone, but I'm up for that challenge because I have more children's books to get out there. So I'm
Awesome.
enjoying
Oh,
I like the
all
sound
right.
of that.
it.
So we're gonna follow the journey of Bug. Bug's gonna do something else.
Yes, definitely. So
Woo!
yes, the next one is like I like this one. I think my aunties will love it too. So
Let me ask just real quick. How did the kids feel about being illustrated or being the inspiration for the illustrations? How'd they feel about that?
my son is 14, so he doesn't care. And my stepdaughter, I don't even she can't really tell like it's her. I think some people think that the illustration is me. It's really funny, but it's not.
That's funny. Yeah, I think after you get to a certain point, you just don't care. Like, oh, you wrote me in the book. Great, thanks.
Yes,
I
teenagers
don't
are
give a shit.
different. They're different.
Yeah, that's awesome. Victoria, any questions?
All right. First of all, could you hold up the book again? It is beautiful. It is really beautiful. And I'm telling you, I'm especially interested because my genre is self-help, inspirational. So I'm going to be taking on the challenge of doing a children's book myself. And so,
Good.
don't put it back down, put it up, put it back up, put it back up. Everybody's good. It is beautiful. Y'all look at those beautiful brown children. See, yes. It is beautiful. Tell us, could you tell us the journey? And I'll go back to something else I want to ask, but how did you find your illustrator? Because I'm really interested in that because I know, like you said, I'm going to have in my head what I would like it to look like, and how do you find somebody who matches your vision with that?
So finding my illustrator, so through Facebook, I
Okay,
got to see some of the work that they did as well. But then you can send them sketches
okay,
or you can send them like an idea of what you have in mind. And I would always request a sketch.
okay.
You'll know in the
You
beginning,
know,
like
okay,
that England, that discernment. First of all, you'll know
yes,
if that's like the right illustrator to be able to capture this book. If the sketch doesn't match, then I think
yeah, just it's
from
got to
there,
match,
'cause once you
right?
start adding
Come on.
colors and you start
Yeah.
adding the colors to it, you're kind of far gone. So that's how, there's a lot of illustrators out there,
Okay,
but they have to be able to capture your tone, your voice. Are you wanting to just use African American children? Are you wanting to, mix
right.
it up? One thing that I did learn in this journey is am I just trying to reach, definitely the audience of African American children, but you have to like think wider than that as well. So that's one thing I did learn.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I
How
know.
long did it, may I
Go
ask,
ahead,
how
go
long
ahead,
did
go
it
ahead.
take you to find an illustrator?
Right.
I want to say like 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
So not
And
too, not
had you finished the book first?
I already finished writing. So I didn't even start looking for an illustrator until I finished the writing. I knew exactly what I wanted to say. I sent it to some people to read it and let me know, like, okay, you really do have something. Like, this book might be the one. So I didn't start looking for an illustrator until I got through that part.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. It is a beautiful book, and our listeners
Thank
and our
you.
viewers know I will say, get the book, get the book.
That's
What?
my part tonight.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, take it back. Rewind. But I wanted to talk about your writing journey itself. I, in looking at your book, I thought, wow, I didn't really receive a push myself to write until I got to high school.
Mhm.
And that's when I met my English teacher who saw that I could write in some of the sentences and paragraphs I had to write on English assignments. And then she challenged me to write some things. And it was then in high school that I wrote my first poem and wrote stories. And then I started getting little notebooks and writing. But your book is targeting a younger crowd, and I love that because at a younger age they could
Mhm.
see for themselves that they could write. So how old were you yourself when you started writing? And did you always journal? Because we are journalists here.
Yes. So I want to say, I know I was like young, so I love
Mhm.
reading. My mom she's a preschool, well, she's a preschool director now, but she's a teacher. So, you know, we were reading. But
Hmm.
I don't know about my other siblings. I loved it, but it was also like unique to see how I can create my own story. So I'm thinking I must have been like 5 or 6, like jotting
Wow.
down different things. So while everybody else is like learning how to swim, I like to read.
Exactly. Exactly. I would do the same. I would read those encyclopedias that we don't have anymore.
Yeah.
I would take down the encyclopedias and just read. And so that is the basic, I think, the basis of the writing is to learn, be able to. And I was an avid reader. I read everything that
Yes,
I probably, some stuff I shouldn't have been reading. I was sneaking and reading.
that
But
part
that's
too.
awesome. Like I said, I love that this book is your book is targeted to elementary school students.
Yes.
Okay.
So between the age of like, so from like 4 to 8, that
Yeah.
age group.
Yes, and and this book I think really gives them that push and that inspiration. It really does. I think what you set out to do is to give them the inspiration to know that they can write their stories. And I like the part where after the story is written, they have a sort of the book signing in the park. That is
Yes.
wonderful. It is too cute, too cute. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your other books? Let's veer away from that for just a second, but tell us about your other books and where and what have you written about?
Okay, so my first book, my book baby, was Don't Go That Way, Protect Your Purpose. That book I published back in 2017. So that book, it really like, that's what kind of launched me into this journey. I talk
Hmm.
about some of the things that I went through, being in an abusive relationship,
Okay.
not listening to God's voice and leading me down
Mhm.
paths that I shouldn't have gone through, and just learning how to really take accountability. That
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
is what did it for me. I learned how to take accountability and no longer be the victim, because that's one thing that I harp on with people. Like, at some point you have to not be the victim. Like,
Come
yes,
on.
you have to listen to those voices, that to listen to the voice that God has for you, to protect your purpose and to not go in those directions. So then from there, the next book that I wrote was, so I wrote 2 books at the same time, but I released my book, Put It Down, Gentle Reminders for Healing. And that's
Oh,
it's a short read. It's just really like getting back onto those reminders that we need to hold ourselves accountable, those reminders that God isn't going to put us in situations that we sometimes put ourselves into, and just taking accountability. And then My Comfort Zone is Broken. That book kind of, the title speaks for itself. Those moments where I had no choice but to step out of my comfort zone because what I was doing and where I was at just wasn't conducive for where God was taking me to. So then
Mhm.
I've also been a part of two anthology projects, Women of
Oh,
Destiny, and then the latest one was, I have it here actually, Words of Wisdom,
wonderful.
Heart and Soul. So this is the most recent book that I was a part of.
Okay.
So this is 36 different women who came together and just shared insight and guidance. So this was a cool project to be a part of.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
And what's
Congratulations
it
to
called
you.
again?
So this one is called Words of Wisdom for the Heart and
Here's
Soul.
wisdom.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
nice. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Put it up again. All right. And all of your
Thanks.
books, you can find that all those on. I'll let Andrew ask all that too. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So let me ask this, Juanita. Are you trying to go back to writing this self-help? Are you looking to branch into another genre? Are you going to stick with the kids book for a little while? What direction? Or are you just going to write everything?
Sometimes and maybe you guys can relate to this, where it's like, I know I'm supposed to be writing something, but what am I supposed to be writing?
Yep.
So I'll have like a notebook full of things that I wrote a
Yeah.
long time ago, and
Hmm.
then I'll hear from God like, okay, it's time to release this now.
Yeah.
So I have
Mhm.
a collaboration project coming out next month that's called Moments for Moms. Give yourself a minute.
Mm.
So it's moms just coming and just encouraging other moms to take those minutes that we need, that we sometimes stray away from because we feel like we have
Yes.
to be superwoman. So
Hmm.
I like to do the collaboration projects and putting those together. That gives other women who want to write a book and maybe they're scared. So it gives them an opportunity to become a first time author. And then hopefully that encourages them to go and write their own book. So definitely sticking with like that self help journey, but definitely children's books. I have some other ones that I'm ready to release. So
That is
Oh,
awesome.
okay. Not just ready to write, just ready to
Awesome.
release them.
I love the name of your company, Grace for Purpose, and you are definitely for walking in that purpose. Do you like the aspect of being an author, mentor, coach? How does that fit with what you feel your purpose is?
definitely, I know that my purpose is tied into helping people. And I know that probably sounds cliche, but I
No,
think
no.
that we aren't here just for ourselves. Our purpose is
Hmm.
not just for us. So writing is my gift, but I'm able to tie my gift into my purpose of helping people. So I love it.
I
Awesome.
love it. I love it. I love your spirit. I love everything that you have said because it so aligns with me.
Yeah.
actually, actually, all of us, because all of us, you said, because that's why we're all three smiling, because you have touched on something that means a lot to all of us. So I
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
Mm.
I have nothing else, but if I do, I'm gonna jump in on Andrea. Go ahead.
Oh, you think? You think?
Uh-huh.
Well, I did want to first of all say, Crystal Harrison, if you can't remember how young you were when you started all of this, you said you were 4. You were 4 years old, and I
That's my
think that
mom. So
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I kind of thought it might have been. But I know she is proud of you and the things that you are
Yes.
accomplishing. And
yeah,
let me tell you, as long as your focus is on helping people and wanting to see them achieve their dreams and all of that, you will be writing and writing and writing. Your writing journey will never end, because there are
that's
always things out there that we need that help with, that we need that support with,
Hmm.
definitely.
and that we need those seeds planted with,
Hmm.
because I think this is a great way to plant a seed. And when we were talking about getting your book out there, I was talking to my daughter who had seen some children's books that that we had had authors on, different authors on prior to this. And she said, I've got to get this. I've got to get this book because she looks for new books to read at her daycare.
Mhm.
And
Oh, nice.
she's
Okay.
got the younger ones. So I did want to say that to you. We're usually looking for the parent to purchase the book, but I think you touched on it a little bit before about the educators and but those people who are running daycares and running
Yes.
those kinds of businesses are always looking for stories to read to their little ones, and I think this is a perfect one, and I know that she is going to invest in that. And which takes us to the point of where to get the book. Where can people get the book, and how can people get in touch with you?
Awesome. So, and thank you. I definitely can't wait to send this book out to your daughter's daycare. So that would be great. So you can purchase the book at Grace, the number 4, purposecode.com. And it's also available on Amazon. If you want signed copies, you can go to graceforpurposecode.com. And then getting in contact with me, you can reach out to me on social media. So I'm on social media as Juanita Nicole Woodson. And then you can email me contact at grace, the number 4, purposecode.com.
Okay. Grace number 4 at purpose.com. All right. Juanita, I do want to ask you one other thing, and that is, I think a lot of times we, as authors, because it is our story, and we have uh, said that in some way, shape, or form, that nobody can tell our story the way that we can, even if it's a fictional story. Nobody can tell it like the author can. But there are always some challenges along the way, and there are always some things that may make you a little apprehensive, or you may tend to shy away from. In your journey, in your writing journey, what were the most challenging moments for you in terms of getting any of your projects, because your projects are very different, but any of them, what were some of the most challenging moments that you had?
So definitely so my first book, Don't Go That Way, that book, it really touched on like moments that I really kept private to myself, even some things that my
Mhm.
family wasn't aware of. So when you're writing a self-help book and you're pouring those private moments out, that can be hard. It can make you want to pause, like, you know what, this is too much. I'm being too vulnerable. I don't want to share this with the world. Are they going to be able to receive it? Are they going to look at me and stick their nose up? So I think that's probably been the most challenging part of writing that book. And then with some of my other books that I've written, the self-help books, when you're no longer in places that you used to be, or you've grown from who you were, and now you're writing a book and you're sharing it with people, you have to overcome that fear of people looking at you like, well, I remember who she used to be, or I remember what she used to do. And you have to remember that your voice is still valid and you're no longer in those spaces. So I think those are the most challenging mind games that I had to kind of overcome in order to finish my projects.
Mhm.
Mm.
Do you find that as you are working with new authors, with your publishing company, what is the best thing, or what is the mm, let me see, how do I want to put it? What advice do you find to be a common thread, if you will, as you are working with new authors? I know for me, one of the things that Ruth always says that really helped me get past stumbling blocks, writer's blocks, or whatever kind of blocks you want to call them, was to understand that the writing process and the editing process are two very, very, very different things,
Right.
because sometimes you get stuck going back. Oh, I could have said that better. And you go back and you go back and you realize you haven't gone forward in your story.
Mhm.
So, what is it that you find is a common thread that you need to share, or you find yourself sharing with those who come to you for publishing services?
Definitely, you develop patience. If you never had any patience, you will develop patience. One of my favorite quotes that works in life, but also in publishing, is to trust the timing of things.
Mhm.
Because, like you said, sometimes you'll find yourself going back and it's like, okay, well, I thought we were getting ready to go to print. I thought we were done. But it's like, nope, you might read your book 10 times and you didn't see something. And then that 10th time that you read it, that's not supposed to say that, or that comma doesn't go there. So definitely you develop
Right.
patience. You have to, trust the timing of things. It will give you a level of patience that you never knew you needed to have.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's true.
Very good. Very good and very, very true.
It's true.
But before we get off the air tonight, I do want to ask you one more thing. And that one more thing is, what word of advice would you give, aside from patience, aside from, understanding your story and your audience and all those wonderful things that you have shared with us tonight? Is there any other thing that you would like to leave our listeners with, when it comes to writing your story? Whichever way it is, and I do understand totally, the vulnerability and the different things that go on with your mind and your mindset when you are writing things that are personal, that are extremely personal,
Definitely.
especially if they are things that you have not shared and you don't know how those who are impacted by that are going to respond, because even though it's your story, it's never just your story. It always
Yes.
encompasses and involves somebody else. So as you're writing and as you're looking at the things that people bring to you or things that they do, what is the one word of advice that you would give?
I say that you have to tell your story. You have to be sensitive, definitely, to make sure that you don't make somebody go after you because you're telling pieces of your story that do involve other people.
Mhm.
But one of my favorite things that I have to encourage people is people should be careful of how they do carry or treat you in life, because this is my story and I have to write my story, you know what I mean? So be careful of the character that you're going to play in somebody else's story.
Ooh.
Mm,
Oh,
mm,
say that again. Be
mm.
careful. Say it again.
You have to be careful of the character that you're going to play in somebody else's story.
Come on.
I love that. I love that. Wise words. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Pass the plate. Pass the plate. Pass the
Wise.
plate.
I tell you what, and you talking about a good note to end on. That is a good note to end on. Juanita, thank you so much for being on Authors Up with us this evening. We do appreciate you.
Yes.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
the nuggets that you dropped on us.
Absolutely, yes.
Encourage all of our listeners to go out and do what Victoria says. Victoria, let me see if I can say it right. Ready? Get the book. Get the
You
book.
are right. You are right.
You okay?
Yeah.
Thank you
But
for having me.
yes,
You're
yes.
welcome.
Absolutely.
It was our pleasure, Juanita. And I do encourage you not only to get the book, but to write a review of it for her.
Hmm.
Yes.
You get it and you read it,
Yes.
because we know that you're going to love it, because it is a wonderful book. And one,
Beautiful.
you have been a really beautiful guest for us tonight. And we hope that you will continue to write, which sounds like you will,
Uh
and
huh.
continue to let us know what you've got out there and what new things that you want to share. Because I tell you what, writing is a journey, but the outcome is so, so rewarding, because
Yes.
I know that there are going to be some authors birthed out of Bug Tells a Story. I believe that. I really believe
Yes,
that.
thank
So
you.
thank you so much again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Scotland. Thank you, London, for joining us this
Yes,
evening.
yes, yes.
And Ms. Ruth and Victoria, do either of you have any final comments for the evening?
I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, any comments, if you know an author who we might be interested in having on our show, you can email us at authorsup@gmail.com.
Absolutely, absolutely. And next week, I hope that at 7 o'clock on Sunday evening, you're going to be right here. Because guess what? We're going to be right here. And we're going to be sharing with you. And we hope that you will be back with us to see what we've got going on here at Authors
Mhm.
Up. There's always something different, always something
Yes.
new, and we love sharing with you. So that is it for us for the evening. Again, we thank you for joining. Check out the podcast. Send us an email. And just hang out with us sometimes because you never know what's going to happen at Authors Up. But we do promise you won't be sorry. You'll be glad that you stopped in.
Yes, indeed.
All we have for tonight. Good night, everybody. Make it a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Sunday night, 7 p.m. Thanks,
Good night,
Juanita. Love
night,
you.
Bronze girls.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.